Oh, so you get the steak as well if you win. Yeah, you do. Of course you do.
Yeah, of
Never
course you
mind.
do.
Just ignore me. Right.
What, you
Should we
think
get
you win a
going?
bet and they take a quid off you?
No, I meant in our
All right. No, just
leaderboards.
winnings goes on, and
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
all our wages
So
is
you might
counted.
as well just put a bet on against. You might as well just put a tenner on Man City to beat Wolves and get 11 quid back.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I did in the first week. But the whole point of that is the whole reason we set up the website, which is after 10 times of doing that, you'll lose all your profit.
Yeah, but not if you put, because we put a tenner on every week, don't we? So
Yeah.
you're better off just doing that to make your money.
No, because in 10 weeks, you'll lose all your profit.
How would we lose? How would you lose?
Because the one time it's lost, you've lost. So £1 every week you've won.
Yeah, but
And
I mean, in the context of our game where you get a new tenner every week and what you lose just goes off.
No, but it's on running total.
Right.
It's an on running total. So we get a new tenner every week, but the total is ongoing.
Yeah.
I think it would be I think whoever did that would win. To be honest.
That's basically what I'm trying to do.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to
You're
do as well. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Why
well,
have I only just
last
gotten
week
on
Villa
to
let
the
me down.
strategy on
I know. Moron.
Everyone's having me over it.
So welcome back to the show. 2 weeks in a row now, I have won my bets. Everybody, I'm so excited. It does put a bit of pressure on me, but I think the methodology is working here. And it is something that, Sam, you agree with as well, just kind of incremental, a little bit of conservative betting, but those marginal gains every week. Ollie's shaking his head
Something
here.
that always just worked out now.
Well, I'm the other
I'm glad
geezer.
we're recording, actually. This is going into the
Listen,
podcast.
I'm the only geezer in the studio that got points on the board this week, so don't be pointing him out. saying
Jason did.
He's not in the
Yeah,
studio.
I did as well.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
Let's open it up then. Has that changed your mind around the betting strategy going forward, Ollie? Because me and Sam kind of off air explained that we've been doing incremental, small, conservative bets that, yes, they have low odds, but over the course of the season, you're going to win because the algorithm will outdo all the betting companies. Ollie, you've been a bit more experimental with higher odds, but are you going to start joining us with the kind of more boring bets?
No, mate, I'm not, because I've already taken this road now, so I have to stick to it. If I bail now, then I'll be 2 weeks behind you two. Whereas if I stick to my plan of higher odds, it's like a venture capitalist. I only need one win, and I'll be shoot to the top of the leaderboards.
Power law strategy. There is something to be said for that if you know your stuff.
Well, I won a bet this week, mate. Did you?
I don't have to win every week. That's what the value odds are. But
That's
we'll
the point
see
of
come
your
the end of the
strategy, though,
season.
isn't it? You need to win every week.
No. Because if you win, so say the odds are 3-1, and we think they should only be 2-1, then we're saying it's going to win 1 in 3 times. It actually wins 1 in 4 times, and therefore you're going to win profitably long term without it winning every week.
Talk us through your victory this week, then, Ollie. What was the odds? Who came in? Just talk us through your methodology there.
Well, yeah, I never like betting on the first week of the season because you never really have anything to go off. You kind of just guessing. Pre-season's nowhere near good enough evidence for me to start making serious picks. So I stuck to the strategy of betting on what I know, and that is the EFL. There'd already been a couple of games in the EFL, so I knew that I could look at that data, see who'd got off to a good start, see who was struggling at the start. So I actually had Stevenage and Chesterfield in a double. I put £3 of my stake down on it. It returned 12. So it's just nice to have points on the board, mate, to be honest, and get the ball rolling. I'm looking to follow the same strategy this week as well. Stick to what I know, bet on things that I can actually see the data for and have something to go off rather than trying to use one game as a reference point.
I was so close to landing a 10-1. I had Wolves versus City over 3 goals, Man United Arsenal under 3 goals, and then Villa to win. And Villa let me down on 2 of my bets last week. So my fault there for doubling down on them, but I did think they'd get that win in the way that Newcastle had gone over the summer. And they look terrible, to be fair.
And just to go through my win last week, I said Liverpool. I did double chances. They were quite boring, but it came in 4 folds, 1 bet, £7. Liverpool, Brighton, Chelsea, and Arsenal all to win or draw on that double chance. And so I staked 7 and won 13 back. So it's just a little incremental win. But let's turn our attention to this game week then. Game week 2 of the Premier League, obviously, but also, as you said there, Ollie, you're the kind of EFL expert here. So do you want to start us off, Ollie? Are you going with EFL once again, or are you going to mix it up with some Premier League stuff as well?
Well, yeah, seeing as I had a successful week just gone, I'm going to stick to the same strategy, which is an EFL banker-ish. I'm classing a banker as something that's less than 3-1 in this case. So I've got an EFL banker, I've got a Premier League banker, and then I've got a Premier League long shot. So we'll start with the EFL banker. First of all, I'm going for Birmingham to beat Oxford United. I'm going for Coventry to beat QPR. So I think most people expecting Coventry to have a really good season this season. They won 5-3 at the weekend. I think so far they've created more XG than any other team in the Championship. Got a really good squad. They didn't lose any of their players last summer and made a couple of additions to that. Obviously, Frank Lampard in charge, who's actually starting to look like a decent manager. He's starting to have a bit of experience and I think they'll be up there this season. They're playing against QPR, who have started quite slowly. And the other team that I'm backing is Birmingham City, who have got off to an absolute blistering start to life in the Championship, playing against Oxford United, who've had a really poor start themselves. Birmingham had a really good start to life in the Championship. They drew the opening game against Ipswich, of course, and then they won away at Blackburn at the weekend with a win in the Carabao Cup over Sheffield United, sandwiched in the middle. So they've beaten two of the top sides, or they're drawn or beaten two of the top sides in the Championship already.
To be fair, the Ipswich
And
game as well was because I bet on it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it would have been 3 out of 3, but
Yeah, the numbers game AI has them a massive 69% favourites, which is absolutely humongous. As for the Premier League banker, I've gone with Anton Semenyo's shot on target for Bournemouth against Wolves and over 2 goals in the game. I look at them as two sides whose defences aren't brilliant, but whose attacks are good. I think Wolves, they played against a brilliant Man City side, but they definitely created chances. There's no doubt about that. And I think that they'll get a goal against a Bournemouth side whose defence was clearly decimated against Liverpool. And obviously, Anton Semenyo scored 2 at the weekend. He's Bournemouth's talismanic attacker. So I've got him for a shot on target. And then I've also got under 4 in Fulham versus United and Sasa Lukic to commit a foul. If you look at every time Fulham play against United at Craven Cottage, it's always an absolute
last
stinker.
season it was an all-time,
All-time
wasn't it?
stinker.
Was it not?
Yeah.
I think we won 1-0, but in the end it was a
Lisandro
horrible
Martinez
deflected goal.
shot,
Yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
I was looking before at the head-to-head. I think the last 6 or 7 times they've played, there's been under 4 goals there. So that's my Premier League banker. And finally, my long shot is, and this is a pure vibes bet, by the way. So you're not going to hear much data back in this run-up. I've gone for Brighton to beat Everton. Everton's first game at the new stadium. You know, it's written in the stars, isn't it? They're going to get turned over 3-0. That would be the most Everton thing to happen. Then I've got Nottingham Forest to draw or win against Crystal Palace under 4 goals. Palace play their first European game on Thursday night. And then the chances are they won't have Eze. So who knows what that'll take out of them. I think Forest will come in full of confidence and get a result there. But I don't think we'll see an expansive Forest performance. I think they'll go back to last season's defensive work.
We've got a lot of Forest fans in the YouTube mentions at the moment calling
we?
me and Jason
Well,
out
there you go.
because me and Jason said they're not going to sustain last year's data, and then we also had a short where we said that there'd be under 2 goals in the game at this weekend, which obviously ended up being the most high scoring because Chris Wood's not going to be able to maintain his scoring. Blah blah blah. What, Jason? What's your message for the people in the comments right now?
Long term, our message will come
Yeah,
true.
mine's come back to us in May. Come back to us in May and see how brave you are then.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I wouldn't say it as aggressively. I mean, I would just say football is a long-term thing. Yes, it was a great first game week for Chris Wood, but who was it against? Realistically, they're not going to be playing Brentford, a team in absolute shambles every game week.
Exactly. It's literally the team that we've said are most likely to get relegated. So have your day in the sun. The only thing Nottingham's got going for it is a Hooters, the only in the UK. So
You've got to give him that, though, haven't you?
I have got to give you that.
That's why the players are playing so well. That's their inspiration.
Yeah,
well,
exactly,
I think they've got
Play pretty well.
6 easy games at the start of the season, so they'll be right up there at that point, and then it'll be worth having a little punt for them to fall off, I reckon, because once Europe comes in and the fixtures get tougher, it'll be a lot more difficult for them. But just to finish
And
off,
how much wood could Chris Wood if a week? Chris could would.
Just to finish it off for the pick, so I've got Brighton to beat Everton, Forest to get a result at Palace under 4 goals. I've got United to win against Fulham under 4 goals because I do think that United will get the result there again. They have got a good record there, and but I think it'll be another stinker. So
I think
that one's
that's brave, though. I think it's brave with the Crystal Palace choice because the AI is saying, they're both very, very close. It seems to be more likely a draw.
The AI doesn't know that Eze's about to leave. Once Eze leaves, I think we'll see that AI prediction percentage come down fairly significantly.
I can't see it being a result for Nottingham Forest. Maybe both
I've got
teams
got a double chance on that, by the way, draw or Forest.
Okay.
Another thing I'll say just to finish off is that Crystal Palace have got a European game this week when nobody else in the Premier League does. Got a European game next week when nobody else in the Premier League does. So they're playing 4 games in the time everybody else is playing 2. They already have a lack of depth in there, and they're losing their talismanic attacker. I wouldn't be surprised to see some rotation, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Palace results start to tail off a little bit. But
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all. What I would also like to shout out, by the way, for this week, the numbers game algorithm. I didn't even back this. I'm a sucker for the value odds. We had Sunderland to beat West Ham for a start.
Yeah.
convincingly
That
as
was
well,
a
it was.
ridiculous result for the AI, which went against what the bookies were saying. And we also had Leeds to beat Everton
Yeah,
at home, 54% favourites, which is not insignificant when you have a look at, for example, 37% Palace favourites, 42% Brighton favourites this weekend, 39% United favourites. 54% is a big statement from the AI, and Leeds obviously got the job done. So shout out to the AI for that and the value odds that it highlighted as well. I personally didn't have the bottle to back it, but maybe I should have done.
yeah.
That kind of leads me into what I was that my pick for this week. You said it's not very data based going for Brighton, but the AI is back in Brighton. Brighton are playing away. They're good value. They should be about 2.38. You can get them 2.45 with most bookies. So £2.50 of my stake is going on that. Counterintuitively, my longer odds is the one that I'm backing more heavily. £7.50 is going on Man City to win, both teams to score. And that is because even though Spurs are a bit of a bogey team for Man City, we saw how Spurs are being in the in the Super Cup. And I feel like as pragmatic as they're going to be under Thomas Frank, I think City looked really, really good in their opening game. And I still think they'll do Spurs at home.
Wow.
And I do like the shout for both teams to score because as good as Man City were, they did still have that kind of Achilles heel of teams able to get them on the counter-attack, much like Liverpool, but not as bad. And there was a spell there during the game where you thought, Wolves are going to score here. And they did actually get the ball into the back of the net. Yes, it was offside, but it did show the abilities of teams to be able to disrupt Man City. I really like that pick, Sam.
Can I play devil's advocate here?
Yeah, I'll just say crucially for the strategy, and this is the main reason that I'm backing it. Is City, we've got heavy favourites, the AI, 71%. You won't see many higher than that. That's crazy. But also the odds are better than they should be because a lot of people know that Spurs are a bogey team. People are backing Spurs, and the bookies' odds have shortened on Spurs as well. So I'm going for a value pick still, and that's why I'm betting more, even though the odds are longer than the Brighton game, where the odds are still value, but not as good value as City.
Yeah, I like that. What I'll say, just to play devil's advocate, is that I do think City will win the game. I'm not convinced that Tottenham will necessarily score them. I think that could be the undoing of it.
They did get 2 at PSG as well.
I know, but they were both set pieces, and PSG had been training for 6 days.
But Thomas Frank is the set piece god.
Yeah, he's the set piece.
I think he'll play 5 at the back, and it'll be Richarlison and Kudus up top, which is, for me, not sure. But I like the bet. I'm not disagreeing with it.
It's bogey team as well. That's why I think they could get a goal.
Yeah,
I fancy City to. I don't think City are the type of team, and this is going off just vibes as well. City aren't the type of team with all these established winners, players, Guardiola, to let a bogey team get in their head. I don't think they're the type like Spurs might be, where because they've lost a few times to a team, they go into that game with any sort of low confidence.
I don't know why something in my head saying it'll finish 1-0 to City. I think Spurs will be difficult to break down. Thomas Frank, 5 at the back, make it really hard work for them. And I think that City will get the job done.
Go on then, Jason. Give us your picks.
I'm going for my classic banker, the boring one.
Double chance.
£6 on this one.
Liverpool, Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a 1.5 to 1, so a little bit better than previous weeks. Chelsea, Man United, Bournemouth to win or draw, and then I've gone crazy here. I bet that Arsenal will win the game. No double chance there. Full balls to the wall on this one.
There's no bias there, is there?
No bias at all. Well, it goes with the data, though, doesn't it? That teams who come up do struggle. The fact that two of them got 6 points last week, I think, was the first time, the second time in Premier League history where that's ever happened, that promoted teams have earned 6 points on the opening day of the season. It's just never happens. And so, I'm going to go back to the trends. Arsenal are going to win that match. And I think the style of play of Leeds as well, they're very good, they're attractive, but they'll play into Arsenal's kind of trap of, we kind of draw that pressure in and then we'll just score a few goals and that'll be fine. So that one's 1.5 to 1, £6 on. Now, my riskier picks, and there's a bit of kind of explanation behind these. First of all, so this one's an 8.15 to 1, putting £4 on this one. So I've only gone with 2 bets this week. West Ham versus Chelsea. I'm going less than 2.5 goals. Because first of all, West Ham were dreadful last week, kind of continuing their poor form from last season. So not any surprises there. But also Chelsea continuing their inability to kind of create. Cole Palmer looked anonymous. I think that they're going to struggle a little bit until they get that fluidity into the team, that the players all know how to play together. But I couldn't see them scoring against Crystal Palace. Like, you could have given them another 90 minutes and it looked like they just weren't going to score. I think they will score against West Ham, but I think Graham Potter's going to go out there with like a 5 out the back. He's just not he doesn't want another embarrassment in game week 2. So that's why I'm going with the 2.5 goals or less. Forest versus Palace, again, less than 2.5 goals. I think it's going to be a tight game. Palace and Forest are both teams that predicate themselves on tight defences. And also Palace are just really, really good at the moment. So I think they should be fine. And even if Eze goes, we're talking about defences winning the game here, not in terms of their attack. And again, that removes even more goal threat. So the 2.5 or less goals. Burnley versus Sunderland. Last season, I think there was 1 goal in the 2 games that they played each other last season. So one was a 0-0 draw, one was a 1-0 win to Sunderland, I want to say. Not a high-scoring game. Anyway, both promoted teams, they'll want 1 point each, so probably likely a 0-0 or a 1-1 draw. So again, less than 2.5 goals. And then this is probably the most outrageous pick, although you guys tell me your thoughts on it. Newcastle versus Liverpool, both teams to score.
I considered that as well, but then the only reason I decided against was because Newcastle still haven't got a striker in, and they obviously went 0-0 against Villa at the weekend, and I just thought I like to, in my bets at least, I don't like to be able to read into something and give myself a reason to not back it. As soon as I see that, I just sack it off.
I think both teams will score in that one. I do. I think Newcastle will be so up for it. St. James will be a cauldron. It's Monday night game, isn't it? I just think that I think that'll be a brilliant game. I actually think Newcastle could easily get a result, draw or win here.
It's going to be fiery, isn't it?
Yeah, Liverpool look like they can't defend for love nor money, and I know that
That's my point.
coming back will be a good addition to them, but it's Van Dijk and Konate, mate, that just look so vulnerable. And then Frimpong might be injured, so who's the backup right back? Bradley's obviously injured already. Might be playing Szoboszlai at right back or Curtis Jones.
Curtis Jones did a job at right back, to be fair, last year.
Yeah.
However, do you know one thing I'd love to see? Isak pop up in a Liverpool hospitality box.
Yeah.
Heads would be lost, wouldn't it? That would be hilarious. Like, is there a Liverpool style of drink as well? You know, he kind of throws away the Newcastle ale and he's drinking
Carlsberg.
Liverpool. But they're going to be so up for this, so excited to play in front of their fans. And I think a lot of them will have things to prove as well. You know, with the Isaac situation, these players, they're a pretty good unit. You know, I get from Newcastle, generally everybody's quite united, and Isak has kind of really upset everybody from that. So that they're going to want to show united front and go out there and do the business against Liverpool. And like you said, Ollie, as well, I could see them sneaking a result as well, because it is a really, really difficult place to go to. And I think that the normal betting markets aren't reflecting that, whereas the numbers game algorithm has it a little bit closer. And I think that's kind of fairer in the estimations. But yeah, that's all my things covered. any kind of offers that people need to be aware of, though, Sam, going forward? Because we did offer them to sign up 20% off for the rest of the season, but let's talk about the subscriptions and everybody that people can have going forward.
Too little, too late now for the offers. There's no discount codes being bandied about. But the value you see in itself, it returns it. Basically, as soon as people set up, they basically make the money back in the first weekend. If you just want the Prem, it's free anyway, boys. So check out the website, numbersgame.uk. The link is below. Completely free for the Premier League if you just want to give it a trial. If you want access to all the data for every league, it's $12.99, or we just do the top 5 leagues, which is $3.99, as in the top 5 European leagues. That's all good until obviously Champions League and everything starts, when you'll want to go onto the analyst package or get involved with the full Discord, tips for all kind of sports and everything, which is $24.99. But check it out on the sign up page.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying as well. I think the Bundesliga, La Liga's just started. Bundesliga starts this weekend, so that $3.99 package. I mean, you struggle to find a pint for $3.99, and you can get all this data for all these leagues which are starting up this weekend. I mean, even if you buy the annual subscription, I think it's $24.99. That's the price of 3 London pints. You get the entire season, the top 5 leagues. So for me, it's no brainer, and you'll make that dough back in no time.
I was going to say, with the tipster package as well, what's quite fun is we all get involved. There's a lot of banter on the group, and people just really enjoy it. It's more than just kind of paying for data. It's joining a community here. That's what we kind
Paying
of do
for
with
friends.
the Numbers Game. So, come to win the money, stay whilst you make some friends. How about that? That's our picks this week. Our picks this week. Let's hope you smash it. Get involved with the comments and make sure to subscribe and tell us if our bets have helped you, because obviously me and Sam won last week. So if you copied either of us, you're already winning, aren't you?